whiskey. His was chopped up because he had a bad internet connection, and so it like
Yeah.
a couple of files, and so yeah, it's like or if somebody joins late, it would give time codes for that. So
it makes me think that Brian's Aeroglass, like his house, is going to explode any minute.
3,
counting down.
2, 1. Yeah.
Information whiskey, y'all.
Information whiskey, as we like to say, l'chaim. Oh, a little spotted cow action.
Cheers. Yeah.
Well done.
I save these for whiskey nights.
So, Brian, what whiskey are you drinking?
Your basic Four Roses.
It's a very fine whiskey to be drinking.
I find it the price point also makes me feel a little warmer.
Wait a minute. Warmer with good feelings or warmer with anger that you spent that much money on a
No,
bottle of
it's-
liquor?
Does it come in a plastic bottle?
No, it does not.
No,
But,
it does
but
not.
I just think that for the price, I think it's the best whiskey for the price.
Well,
Yeah.
and alcohol by volume too. It's a pretty strong, smooth tasting whiskey. And,
Yeah.
You know, it only takes one glass to get me nice and buzzed.
Hey, did I mention when I was in Utah last and I was having drinks with dinner and I was like, make the next one a double. I was really kind of weak. Like, we can't. We can do 1.5 ounce pours. I was like, oh. This is rough. So, yeah.
Cool.
My favorite thing about, I think I mentioned this, but as strict as the FAA is, you can have a .03 BAC and throw things out of planes.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's kind of amazing to me.
Well, as they say, 8-hour bottle of throttle said nothing about cans.
No, but like 8 hours bottle to throttle, but you can still have a .03. So it's kind of like you can get lit.
Yeah.
And then just take a little nap, which is not great. I feel like I just feel like in aviation it should be 0.0.
0.001. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like I had 3 certs earlier, and so I'm blowing a .01. You know, like that kind of. Yeah. I had mouthwash 3 hours ago. You know. Elliot's holding up the IPA corner of the chat.
Amen.
So.
And top 3 beers of all time for me.
Oh yeah.
They're in Athens Brewery, Athens, Georgia. Creature Comforts. Put them on that specific beer. Put them on the map.
I looked it up. Cool.
All right, fellas. You wanna? What did they say in Top Gun? Light the fires and kick the tires. Kick the tires and light the fires.
I think
like
it's
it.
great when you're putting an accent on top of an accent.
Exactly.
It's almost British.
Well, I'll try
Horseshoe
harder.
theory.
I'll
It goes
keep
around
that-
so
I'll keep that
far.
going.
Yeah.
Did they say how's your mama and them in England?
Mom and and all.
Your mom and them and all?
Jubilee. J-U-B.
Finishing my holiday case of Jubilee.
Huh.
Nice.
Okay, I just learned. Oh, hey, that's a local one for me.
Nice.
Yeah. I had no idea. All right, let's do this. Correct video this week, even.
Welcome to the Midlife Pilot Podcast. What is it like to become a pilot in midlife? The challenges are unique, but so are the rewards. Hosts Ben, Brian, and Ted talk learning to fly, growing as pilots, and the joy of flying to destinations. The purpose of the podcast is not to teach, but to share knowledge and experiences. You definitely should not take any advice too seriously from an aviation podcast that uses terms like icing on the vegetables. Okay, checklists are complete. Let's get the show started.
Hello and welcome to episode 161 of the Midlife Pilot Podcast. It's our information whiskey year-end spectacular. My name is Ben, and I'm a pilot based here in the Atlanta, Georgia metro area. And I'm flying a Cessna 182. And I have joining me tonight our friend in Music Row. He is a man, he's a jack of all trade and master at a lot of them. It's our friend Brian Siskin. Hello, sir.
Good evening, everybody. Super excited. Year-end spectacular with whiskey in hand.
With whiskey in hand. Our friend joining us on the West Coast, it's the left coast. It's our sport pilot extraordinaire. He's our friend Ted. Hello, sir.
Hey, glad to be here. I've got my spotted cow, which is my traditional drink for these nights. I got a shout out to Chuck, who's got his water on the rocks, which also counts as an appropriate drink for tonight. So
Absolutely.
Absolutely. We've got a nice group in the crowd tonight. We have to had to kick it a night, so one of our loyal listeners, Zach, could have dinner with his wife last night. So we took one for the team and pushed
it's
it
anniversary
out
dinner for his wife. Yeah.
Yeah, anniversary dinner. So happy anniversary to Zach and his lovely bride.
Yeah.
Tonight, we're just going to catch up and see what we've been up to, review the year. Want to catch up to see what you guys have been up to. Brian, have you been doing anything fun over the last week since the last episode?
I'm still recovering from my testing marathon.
Yep.
And otherwise, doing a lot of planning. This is the time of year to turn over some things, dust off some things, figure out what happened, what didn't happen, and get it in gear for January. So I've been mostly doing that. I did rip apart my entire studio office and put it back together again. And it's funny because I feel like I've been through so many periods in my life of getting rid of stuff, yet there's still just stuff. I feel like I've made some pretty valiant efforts at getting rid of things and feeling like I really got a lot of stuff out of here. I'm not a hoarder or anything, but been alive for a while, and you collect some things. So
I got to tell you, when you first came on, Terry and I've been got sucked into the Stranger Things TV show, and we're deep into it. When you first came on the camera, it occurred to me that maybe you were in the upside down world, and right now, with your new haircut, everything looking clean behind you, you're now in the upside right world. I mean, I wasn't sure who you were.
Well, to be clear, I believe what I've gathered from if I watch Stranger Things, I sleep in sort of 5-minute intervals. But I believe that Hawkins has been split into 4 worlds, which, by the way, I'm driving my wife crazy because we're watching that and I'm just like, ooh, I have a plan. But wait. It's always like this plan, but no, I have a better plan. And then right when there's some really bad thing about to happen and the walls are closing in on them or whatever, it's like, well, now I'd like to take a moment to have a really deep emotional conversation
before we die.
Right, where it's like in the real world, if that was your spouse, for instance, they would be like, "Will you shut up and get this door open? We're about to drown,"
Yes.
Or whatever. So, anyway, I'm getting through it.
Well, I've got to say, it reminds me of the George Carlin bit about stuff. How everything in life comes down to having stuff. Even if you're homeless, you have a shopping cart full of your stuff. And that's what matters to us. And
and then you need a place to put all your stuff. And then
yes.
So I'm pretty well using everything that I have. And then anything that I'm kind of holding on to. My problem is I have a bunch of vintage gear of various things that breaks, which is just part of the deal. And then the timeline to get some of these things repaired can be prolonged. So it's like, okay, I need to get that out of here for a minute. Basically, anything I have that's like a tape machine or whatever, it's all needing to get serviced. So I've just got like a whole needing to get serviced pile of stuff. But anyway, no, it's been really good. I did inherit a lot of really neat aviation books and some things this year, and so I've been going through that. But anyway, this is that time of year where you sort of you harvest a little bit, you turn over some things, and you kind of get ready. The weather's been really not great for flying, although I am planning on flying tomorrow and the next day, and it'll be the first time in a couple weeks. So I'm super excited about that, and then I'll have some things to report. My hope is that I'm rested enough tomorrow, if I get a good enough nap, that I could be up in the air at midnight and see the fireworks from above. But I'll probably be too tired because let's be honest.
Yeah, I've had an interesting week. I did a Freedom Aviation flight shortly after the last episode, and flew up to, and correct me if I don't pronounce this right, Lebanon, Tennessee. as soon as I got out of the plane, I stepped out, and the FBO manager comes like right up to me, and she says, "Do you have a minute to talk?" And it really kind of took me by surprise.
Oh no!
It turned out it was we missed each other. I had to get the advocate and the VIP in the plane because we were running behind, and I needed to get going. I said, "I've got to bring the advocate back. Let's talk this afternoon." Came back. It was too late. She had already gone for the day, but we did connect by email, and I was really flattered. She wanted to find out what FBOs could do for people that are volunteering for Freedom Aviation Network.
Oh, neat.
And how many FBOs out there knew of Freedom Aviation Network specifically, and that she and both her husband were very much wanting to support public benefit flying.
Yeah.
And so we had a nice conversation, and it was really sweet of her to reach out. So, yeah, I flew up to Lebanon, took the VIP and advocate down to Albany, Georgia, and flew back to Lebanon, and had to fly 2 instrument approaches into Lebanon. And by the second one, it was nighttime, not legal for landing. It was just like right around 5:30 or 6. And I called up this guy, Brian Siskin, and said, "Hey, I need a place to crash," because I was not passing the I'm safe checklist. Ended up getting a ride over to his neck of the woods and had a nice time hanging out with him. Learned how more of the sausage is made when it comes to mixing one of these here podcasts. And hopped in the plane that morning and came back right on home.
You should have seen the look on Ben's face when he's playing out of my studio monitors really loud in the room. To hear yourself in that way,
Exactly.
when you're not used to it, is
hear everything.
horrifying.
Now,
Well, he's like saying, "Do you hear this?" And then he plays a track of me saying something like 12 times in a row. And that was literally nails on the chalkboard. And I finally got what he was saying, this little skip or this bump or whatever. But
yeah.
that's, yeah,
So
it was good.
Mike 54, Lebanon.
Lebanon.
Is that where we met for Nobody Cares? And
No.
they had the food trucks out front?
That was Springfield, Mike
That was
91.
Springfield.
Springfield, okay. Did we do anything at Mike 54?
No.
Okay.
It's a beautiful airport. A lot of props to it. The FBO was really pretty. It's a very nice staff, very reasonable fuel prices, so I highly recommend it. I left them a review on the website. What is it? AirNav. And so, and then Albany also, I'm sorry, Albany. Elliot is making sure that I get this correct. And Albany is very close to where I grew up, and I've got a lot of friends there, and they would correct me as well. So, and then the second thing that I want to mention, I thought this was kind of funny. So we moved my son Noah up to Columbus, Ohio over the weekend. And we had 4 cars. We had a U-Haul, my truck, and then they each drove their.
To
Noah
clarify,
and his roommate.
he wanted to go. It was not against his
This
will.
It is not against his will.
Okay.
He landed a dream job. That dream job is located outside of Columbus, Ohio. So he was forced to move up there. So we get them unpacked. Terry and I are getting ready to drive back, and the winds in Columbus that morning were like 28 gusting 42, and it was directly from the south, and it never went below 24 miles. I mean, it was just howling all morning long, all night long too. And so we get in the car, and I looked at Terry, and I was like, I'm so excited to be able to look at something that's showing my speed, and that's actually the speed that I'll be doing over the ground, as opposed to being in an airplane showing 140 miles an hour and actually doing 75 miles an hour. We get in the truck, we get going, and honest to God, I normally, when I'm on the interstate, I get 20, 21 miles to the gallon. We got 14 miles to the gallon on the first tank because it was so much wind. It was crazy. I was wondering if something was wrong with my transmission, if we had it out of gear, but no. So, yeah, so it's been a busy week for me. It's been fun. Tomorrow is my last full day of employment with my company, so I'm pretty excited about that.
Nice.
That's a big moment.
It is. I had to put my permanent out of office message on. I had to draft that today. And that's the first time it's really hit me that I'm actually retiring tomorrow.
You're
Was
like,
it-
where's
was it-
the F key? Okay,
Right.
F.
Was it the gif of a mic drop? Just like, see ya.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Or just as my subtitle says, just put a big, I no longer work here, not my problem.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
kind of how I want to leave it, but I'm not going to do that.
Yes.
I can't. It's not in my nature. But want to mention our big announcement of our next fly-in, the Thaden Invasion, March 13th through the 15th next year, 2026, Bentonville, Arkansas. Victor Bravo Tango. We're still working with the team. We're continuing discussions. I think maybe in the next episode or two, we'll maybe take a deeper dive into it and talk about it. There is going to be limited parking. We're working on a number with that right now. There's plenty of airports around there. And, so more to follow on that. Anything you guys like to add?
Yeah, come hang out. It's always a good time when we do these things, and it's a very, sort of personal responsibility themed gathering. We don't charge anything. We just treat it like we are there doing our thing, and we're going to do a podcast there. And then whoever wants to show up and be a part of it at whatever intervals, at whatever times, for whatever things. We're not doing highly sanctioned, organized things, although we're going to try to do a little bit of maybe more than what we've done in the past. But ultimately, it's just hey, this is where we're going to be. Let's all hang out. And if you can make it, then that's awesome. We've already got so many people that have signed up on our RSVP page to say that they're coming or they believe they're coming. There's a lot that are really sure that they're coming, which is wild. So obviously, weather and airplanes and things always happen, but even still, with all of those, we're probably going to have a really decent crowd. I'm really excited about the space we have to do the podcast in, and to do a live episode is going to be awesome. And I'm just super excited all the way around because it's just such a cool airport with so many great places to fly on Saturday with each other, check out each other's planes, all of that stuff. So it's not a formal thing. There's not sign-up sheets when you get there for various activities. We're all grown-ups, figure it out. But we'll be there, and you should be there too.
Yes.
That's Ted. I'm sorry, you were about to say something.
No, I'm really looking forward to it. It's I think it's cool that we're discovering airports that are friendly and have things going on and have their own advantages and disadvantages, and it's gonna be great. So we're looking forward to it.
The folks at the FBO have been really great, very very welcoming, and very excited about having us. So,
without getting too specific, did we not get a message recently that says that there's some parking that may have opened up that will help?
yes.
Okay,
We just
won't.
need to count on our fingers to ourselves before we say that.
Right. Okay. So things are heading in a good direction, not a less direction.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like
It was one of those where I saw the first half of the sentence and I didn't know if the second half was going to be sorry. It was. Yeah. We're here to speak to you about. I'm like, oh no.
we regret to inform you that your parking woes may have been solved.
We have a sawzall.
We'll have a staging airport where everybody then has to combine into, bigger planes and then shuttle. But or basically Ben will just fly everybody there and back.
That just feels like how it's going to happen.
That's the way it
Somebody's
usually
going to get
works.
stranded somewhere, and somebody's going to come pick them up. I feel comfortable in saying there is going to be a point in time, whichever airport you go into, that there's going to be a meetup at a brewery. I mean, that's kind of a foregone conclusion. So.
Oh yeah, we'll be hanging. There's so many things there that are right by the airport or in that area. So yep. Can't wait. Go to the RSVP page and make yourself known. And if we have to, I don't know, limit the number, we will. But right now, we're just kind of holding out. So
Very cool. Well, Brian, why don't you go ahead and hit the belly scrub for us?
yeah. So hey, you listeners have always helped us keep this thing ad-free. We have never had to do this business of doing read-throughs. We're not trying to sell you factor boxes or whatever. By the way, I just mentioned factor because we are now like shout out to our we are selling gold coins now. So
with Brian's face on it.
Yeah. So no, I mean we really so to do this on a weekly basis, as consistent as we've been able to do it for as long as we've been able to do it, it's time away from our families or lives. It's a little bit of a tether on our schedule. Sometimes we do figure out how to do double headers sometimes when people have to be gone. But this thing just takes a lot of time. We have to have all kinds of software and all kinds of things. And, there's just a lot that goes into this. I want to say as effortless as we make it sound, but it probably doesn't sound effortless. So we don't have any sponsors. We don't mess around with any of that. We have basically listener supported podcast. And the only way we can pull this off is for folks just to support us on Patreon. And we try to do a nice little handshake deal there and to say, look, we appreciate your support. It's $1 an episode or whatever, a quarter per episode. And also there's tons of bonus content. So also just know that there's a lot of things on the Patreon that are worth checking out there's hours and hours of really cool stuff there. So if you join our Patreon community, you'll get Discord access, which is our community online. If you don't know how to use Discord, just check with the nearest children and they will help you. Or we will, be able to help you get started at least. It's not hard, but as Ben has said many times, it's kind of replaced social media for a lot of us. It's a place to go be social and share things, but within the contained universe of the Midlife Pilot Podcast community on Discord, very positive place, not a lot of one-upsmanship or anything going on there. It's a good vibe and very helpful. If you need something, you've got a lot of people that are ready to help. So Discord access, a lot of exclusive content. Join our Patreon. You can do that by going to midlifepilotpodcast.com and clicking support. Know that when you do that, 10% supports Freedom Aviation Network's anti-human trafficking efforts. So been speaking to those causes and, flying and helping people is awesome. So do that. And if you can't do it yourself, know that 10% of our entire Patreon goes to them every month. Yep. For everything Midlife Pilot Podcast, in terms of sending us feedback, you can do that via the website, get merch. All the things can happen at midlifepilotpodcast.com. If you're too lazy to go to the contact form, just email us at midlifepilotpodcast@gmail.com. But if you go to the website, there's stuff there. So check it out.
Yeah, excellent. This is the time of year where things get slow in aviation. And so in lieu of new Patreon supporters, I want to thank 5 of our oldest supporters. That's Tim H., Michael D., Adam R., Mike Alpha Golf, and Alyssa Miller. I think Alyssa's been around long enough. She can see her full name wherever she wants.
She's well known on so many different podcasts now that she's basically a celebrity. And so
exactly.
Yeah, you can use her full name.
And she's conquering rotorcraft now.
Yes.
Exactly. The spinny things on top. So I want to thank those that have been with us for a long time. It means a lot. It supports us. And if you can't afford it, if you have too many other podcasts to support, that's fine too. So there's your anti-ad.
I thought you were just going to say, we see how you are.
I just, a lot of people talk on the podcast like, you must be the only one that they listen to, and therefore you owe them more money.
Totally,
like, No. Come on, we're not that bad.
Well, we don't gatekeep any of the content. We put it all there. We get the episodes out the next day. I mean, we just give it all up, and then this only happens because people will give back. So
okay, but right. we do gatekeep the debriefs. Those are Patreon members only. So there is some gated content, but as far as the podcast is concerned.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah.
There's not the 3 minutes of ads at the beginning of
part of the gatekeeping of the check ride debriefs also is because, and I think we've talked about this before, but if you guys don't know what we're talking about, we have, hour plus long debriefs that One Dull Geek has orchestrated with various Patreon supporters that goes over their whole sort of aviation story, bringing us up to speed with their check ride experience and what they learned and what, they share all these different insights. It's so insightful and so interesting. But we know that people's identities or, you don't want to be public on the internet with that fully. So to have it be behind at least some sort of a quote unquote paywall gives it some kind of the right level of security so that, of course, these things could get out if somebody was, saying, "Hey, I cheated on my check rider." I don't know, but I don't know what that would work. But anyway, the point is just that that's why that stuff is gated more than anything else. But
there's more. A smaller crowd, you can say more, and you can not have to worry about that as much. I do have to say we've got 2 check rides coming up. I was thinking what are kind of the far ends of our check rides, and the one is a 15-year-old that got her glider, glider solo, which is awesome. We also have coming up Chuck with his sport check ride debrief, and then we have our friend Elliot Cox with his ATP debrief. So it's cool to have that full range of
everything in between,
lots of instrument, but everything else too.
Multi, everything. Probably all of it.
Speaking of accomplishments, a couple to hit. We have a crowd that's apparently working on the ground instructor stuff. So Dev got his IGI. That's fantastic. Alex in Canada had his first solo, and Chuck had his first passenger in his plane since he got his ticket. So his son flew with him. It's always great to see the pictures of those. I think those are some of my favorites. Here's my first passenger, and it's my son, or it's my daughter, or it's my, whoever it is. Those are so cool.
Yeah.
So, I love seeing those.
So tonight we just kind of wanted to do a recap of what we've done, the memorable moments for 2025, memorable flights, favorite thoughts, just kind of go over everything. And Ted, you asked for some data from me and from Brian. And we can look at some numbers as well. But let's go ahead. We'll do a little kind of a round robin, and I'll throw out a couple of questions. How does that sound to y'all?
that sounds good. Can I just set the stage a little bit?
Yeah, set it more.
Yeah, so it's so important, I think, to debrief, as we were talking about, check rides or flights while you're in training, to try and, within 2 hours of landing, get those thoughts out and get those points on paper. We should be aspiring always, I think, to be artists of the debrief. It's nice to sometimes take a step back and do a large-scale debrief of the entirety of a year. And as much as we're going to be talking about our own accomplishments or maybe things that we missed or whatever, this is really an invitation to those in the chat and anyone else to chime in. Our wins and our experiences are also all of yours. So this is not just... this is us sitting around talking about ourselves, but it's not really, okay? That's what I'm saying. So I just want people to understand the importance of the, I think there's a lot of year in review things that go on, but I think that as pilots, there's a particular value in looking back at a year.
Yeah.
Totally agree. So with that, let's kind of start off to some of the podcast highlights, not necessarily respective to our individual flying, but I want the one that you kind of teed us up with, Brian. I want to hear about your favorite moments and thoughts about the Tango 82 fly-in. What stuck out to you the most from that fly-in at Gillespie County?
I'll say this. There was a moment in that whole fly-in where, I just, whenever you organize any kind of an event or a party or just whatever it is, you go through all this planning and you try to get all these ingredients and things together and try to not structure it too much, but you're trying to just get everything together. And there's a lot of things to think about. And there's some weird point in the course of that event where things just start to take on its own life, its own energy. It gets traction and it starts to go on its own. And you're just watching it off training wheels go down the street kind of thing. It's there was something about, because these events, that as much as we try to walk away from any responsibility for anybody's good time, we put a lot of energy into people having a good time, and we want to set that up to make that happen. And there was a couple of moments in that event where I saw all these people coming from all over, all listeners, and there was just a culmination of just energy that kind of built up where everybody was just there. And I think there was a few moments. One was when we were at the I love the Tiki Bar, and the fact just everybody had Virgil comes in with basically a whole bar. We had a Tiki bar available to us that was a ready-made bar with nothing in it. Yeah. And to see it just get created out of nothing, and it be packed with people, inner ring of the bar, outer ring of the bar, and just all the conversations that were going on. That was just such a cool moment, because you could just see this thing, everybody's vested in this event being what it is. So there was a moment where it just kind of took on a life of its own. The other moment was really just with you guys, where we had the gracious folks at TAC Aero. I can't believe that they pushed all those planes out of the way and made room for us and let us get the chairs and the PA system and the whole thing to let us just completely take over this hangar on a Saturday. Was so gracious, and everybody was so cool. It was such a great environment just to be in the middle of all of these airplanes and cool old cars and just all this stuff. But there was a moment where, with any stage thing or with any kind of performance thing or tech thing, we had people helping out, Luke and Mark, and everybody was running around helping, and we kind of got the tech stuff together. And once everything was kind of set up and we knew that it was working and people were starting to come in and take their seats and it was about to happen, there was a moment where, I don't know if you guys remember this, but we went out the back door of the hangar, just me and you guys. And it was sort of like it reminded me of being, in a green room, about to play a show or something, where you can hear the crowd outside, and you're kind of just putting your heads together and just getting on the same page about what you're doing. Here's how, this is super exciting. Let's do it in this way. Let's make this great, and then just coming back through that door with everything set up, ready, everybody there, and then just doing it. It was a really, really cool experience to just have that moment with you guys, because we don't normally get that. Obviously, we do this podcast. Yeah. All of us are remote, so for all of us to be in the same place, and that's why I'm looking so much forward to the Thaden Invasion as well, because there's just something really cool whenever we get ourselves together in the same place and it's live and people are there. It's such a great experience. Anyway, I would say that's a long-winded way of saying Tango 82 was awesome, but really those were the moments, is just seeing how it came together, and then also just how we got the podcast together.
So I'm going to echo, but really for me, getting there was a lot of fun. Coming back home was a lot of fun. But there was a moment, I think it was on the last night, when, I had high expectations. We had a lot of people RSVP. We thought it was going to be, 70, 80 people. Then we got bad weather, and it was maybe 40 people. There were 5. But those people that were around that tiki bar, I literally took a step back and just looked and just watched and just absorbed the moment. That it was a very proud moment for me to be part of this podcast that created the podcast, not me, created this community of people from all walks of life having drinks and a good time and talking aviation and just genuinely enjoying each other's company. And for me, I I was present in that moment to be able to see everybody enjoying that, and that's what stuck out with me the most.
Yeah.
Ted, how about you?
That moment where we went kind of to have the right before we hit the show moment out the back of the building was one of those moments like I really needed to smoke. This is a moment that you need to be smoking for. I should have started. It would have been worth it.
Bad week to stop sniffing glue.
Exactly. And as an introvert, to see that many people and all the pressure of that, because not only are we in this hangar with these beautiful planes, they've moved everything out of the way, but it is a busy weekend for them. It's not like it's quiet there. They are busy. So that was really cool. That's the thing I liked the most. The beer in the tiki bar was great because it was one of those things where it poured. It was raining so hard when we were around that. That's why we were there, and it didn't matter. We went out. We did all sorts of things. The weather was good when we needed it to be. It didn't matter, and I love seeing people get together and they're having fun. They're not waiting for us to organize for them on what's going on. And the tiki bar is the perfect example of that.
Yeah.
That just worked out great.
And for me, I mean, it's hard to, there's just so much, but it was like the journey of getting there and the journey of getting back home, which, I mean, the journey home was like 10 days. So that was a big event for me. It was it's been a rough year for vacation time for me. I started the year in the hole, and yeah, it doesn't matter. So it was such a great event, though. I'm so glad that it worked out how it did, and even with all the chaos that was going on with it. So yeah. I enjoyed that.
All right, so let's all pick one most memorable flight. So Ben, for you, 2026, let's just say most memorable flight up until last month.
I know what you're referring to, and I wasn't going to say that. There was actually the flights going out to Tango 82 and coming back were one in specific when I hit some pretty heavy turbulence. That was memorable. But the one I remember the most, the one that I'm most proud, if I will, if I may, is Terry and I were flying into St. Simons, and it was a pretty strong crosswind. It was probably 13-knot crosswind component, and I knew this airport well enough that if you got below the tree line and the direction the wind was going to be coming from, that it was going to be a lot more manageable. But we're getting tossed around pretty hard on final, and I have to say, I know everybody's going to give me a hard time about this, but I greased it. I mean, there was butter all over the runway. Terry looked over to me. She said, "You are a badass MFer." And to get that from my wife, I was like, okay, that's the best flight of the year.
Right.
Walking away from that one, put it in the bank. Can't do any better. Yep. It just doesn't get any better than that.
Yep.
So, impressing the wife. I mean, when you do that, I might as well just give up my medical and my cert and never fly again, because it's not going to get any better than that.
Yeah.
So, what about you, Brian?
I think for me it was. It's funny because the criteria, it does seem like it comes down to landings a lot, doesn't it?
The
surviving.
only thing we're ever judged on are landings. They're not judged on our takeoffs. We're not judged on our cruise flight. We're only judged on our landings.
Yeah, I think one of my favorite flights, most memorable flight, might have been the one that I took. So, on the way to Tango 82 for the fly-in, Luke and I flew from here to Little Rock to pick up our friend Keith. And I'll just, I definitely flew at the edges of what I would do for reasonable VFR situation to get there. And then, there was weather coming in down southwest of there, and we were going to have to be strategic. And we picked up Keith, and at this point the plane is, loaded up. I mean, we've got camera gear and luggage and all this stuff, and three dudes in the plane. And I had not I did the performance calculations and everything, but I had not had the plane this heavy before. And it was, also warm weather. Density altitude was a factor a little bit, not a lot, but definitely a factor. And so I was really thinking about, this takeoff out of Little Rock, and it was amazing. The Cherokee 180, for whatever you can call it, whatever it is. I call it the Toyota Camry of the skies, but it did not care. It was almost like it didn't have anybody in it. It was amazing. Like, it just performed really, really well. Got right off the runway. And so that was just a good feeling to sort of load, there's a first time, I think, when you really start to load up your plane and you wonder how that's going to feel and hope that it's all good, and do your calculations, obviously. And just did great. So that was really nice. And it was cool to pick up Keith because his plane was down. So the only way he could go to the flying was for us to pick him up. So it felt like we were doing a solid there. And then when we were en route, the first stop was to golf. And 60 knots was probably the best ground speed we had on this flight. I mean, it was a 40 knot headwind the whole way. And I just remember coming in to land. It was definitely something where it was, you could, when the storms are coming, and the skies are getting dark, and you can kind of, we had enough distance from the actual storm and all that, but it was such a massive weather system that was changing everything. And we were coming in, and the winds were so intense all the way down, yes, greased the landing right on center line, all that stuff, but it felt especially good because, Keith had never flown with me before, so I wanted him to feel safe. The plane's loaded down, this is really kind of a little bit up against it in terms of weather and all that, and then to just land in pretty tricky winds, and one of those landings where everybody in the plane's like, oh man, like that was great. That was a good feeling. And and so I think that for all those reasons, we continued on and made it on to Tango 82 after. But I don't know, there's something about, I think what it's a reminder of to me is that it's really about the people and the journey. It's not about the specifications or the destination or the how nice were the beaches, or I don't know.
Right.
It's just, man, it's so much fun just to have a mission and make it work and be safe and do it well and meet the challenges that come in a reasonable way and all that. So I think that would be it for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ted?
For me, it wasn't as much about one specific flight as in kind of what changed in this year for me, which was some big steps up. Going to Tango 82 was my first real crossing of the Rockies, and I repeated that again later in the year going to Oshkosh. And it was also when I first started experiencing actually flying with thunderstorms instead of wait a week until they're done. And that came back when I was headed across the Rockies the second time of learning how to watch the storm and plan around it, and what can I do with the terrain and everything else. That was the flight where they said, hey, just so you know, the minimum safe altitude in this area is 13,000 feet for my IFR pilots. She knew I was VFR, but it's like, okay, that's a little high for that segment. But those were a big deal for me with those Rockies crossings. And then the other one obviously is flying into Osh, and doing that with Mark, with Wendell Geek, was a great adventure. It was great for our friendship, and it was just quite the accomplishment. So I really loved those.
It's interesting to me, the experience that you gain when you do a really long cross country.
Yeah.
And not even with you being in the air, Ted, but you being on the ground and looking at the weather and looking at the terrain and looking at all the different factors that's outside of your normal weather terrain patterns in your local area. You know, even just being on the ground, what you gain from that to me is exponential compared to what you do, you know, with the local flights. So
Yeah.
I think that's awesome. Let's hit some of the comments. We've got a lot of folks in the chat tonight, and they're sharing their memorable flights as well as some of their statistics. I'll go first. I'm going to hit Rich Flies. He says, memorable for me, got my sport ticket, AGI, flew to my first aviation meetup. So many firsts this year. So well done, sir. Let's see. One Dull Geek. His most memorable flight has to be, just like Ted, has to be the physical arrival with Ted. So he
That's
reciprocated.
Yeah, that was because I flew in with AJ, and then that was when he and I flew in his plane.
Yep.
So
Yep.
I'd forgotten about that. That it was,
There's video evidence of such a thing.
There is
yeah, it
video
exists.
evidence.
Yeah.
So
I want to hit Rich's comment. He said, I wish I could get my wife in the plane more. Only flew with me once so far. She's an anxious flyer, and it was pretty bumpy that day. And he's flying a light sport, and he's a new pilot, and that's common. We did a podcast in the past about flying with our spouses, and
Yes,
they're
go check
not
that
going to
out.
want to fly as much as you do. I know that mine hadn't flown with me at all when we did that episode, and we've been up a good large handful of times since then. And most recently it was, hey, let's go get coffee at the beach, and just doing little things like that. So there's hope, Rich. That, keep flying.
Yeah. Yeah. By the way, Ted, I think it's funny that we were just talking about, for us, it's the journey, not the destination, right? Or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's about the adventure and the figuring out how to get there and how to make it work and all that stuff. Guess what? For your spouse, it's not any.
it's about the destination.
It's all about how are the beaches or how are,
Yeah.
It's not even the destination, but how quickly can you get me to the destination?
how much do I have to tolerate to get to this other world?
Yeah. Yeah.
I want to hit our friend Virgil from Plain Places. Most memorable, tough choice. Blue Angels passing under with smoke on just 300 feet below us over Pensacola Beach on Memorial Day weekend. Total serendipity. I remember that video of yours, and that was that would be very hard to beat. Watching the Blue Angels fly under you.
That sounds like an unwitting presence on or appearance on Vass Aviation. Like Virgil's like, this is the most memorable flight of my year. Meanwhile, there's a video. It's like we've got there's apparently a Comanche.
Oh, you mean target practice?
Oh, I got to hit this one more. I'm sorry. We'll move on, but I got to hit this one more from in our chat. Heath Mitchell says, my first non-local flight ever, Benalla to Kangaroo Island. Memorable for being far too ambitious. Executed well, but my mental endurance was severely tested.
Yeah.
Very well spoken. That's when sometimes you don't plan on the mental fortitude that it takes to take some really long flights, and which is quite frankly the very reason why I spent the night at your house from that fan flight, is because I didn't have the mental capacity to fly another approach, and I wasn't going to do it.
Was he there? Were you invited?
No, I'm talking about coming up to Lebanon and staying at your house.
Oh, my house. Oh, okay. I knew that you were here. That's good. Yeah.
Yes, you did know that. We talked about it, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, I think that for me, I love what you said about the long trips. It is something to us that everybody should do, is just get out there, do a trip that's all day, 2 or 3 hops away, and within safety margins and your endurance, and I'm safe and all the disclaimers. But I'm just saying, if you could do that, you end up in a situation where you've kind of burned your boats a little bit. Like you're just out there and it feels good. There's something that happens to you that the planning gets a little bit more challenging, and you're having to deal with hazardous attitudes more richly and really rely on your your pilot friends and your mentors, and there's just a lot of things that happen when you do that. And then also just, I think I've said this before, but it's like when you start to feel like you're getting in and out of a car. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like when you've made enough hops and enough stops in the last day or 2 days straight to where you just start to feel a little bit like you're getting in and out of the car. On one hand, that's really cool because you're just really in a place of familiarity. It's also super dangerous because that is when complacency and things can, creep in, and staying on your checklists and all that is super important. But that's what I like, is that just that feeling of, wow, I'm just in a rhythm here of getting in, cranking up, doing the checklist, doing the things, successful flight, land, shut it down, secure the plane, just next. I love that feeling.
Yeah, that's a stamp collecting day for me, where it's like I'm going to land at 7 airports, and it also shows you when your routine isn't perfect, when you realize, oh, you know what, I'm just getting to the pattern and I haven't prepped what airport this is. And you're like, wow, I can't believe I did that. I should have prepped this before I left the ground.
I had a video. I have on a video when I was coming back from Marfa once, where it was I was asking for flight following, and I was doing my position report of where I was, just what airport I had just departed from, and I couldn't remember.
yeah,
at the moment. So yeah, but I'm fond of at least.
But to
flying.
your point, that's a muscle that you build.
Yes,
just like anything else. So
yeah.
Let's hit our accomplishments, if I could talk, and goals for 2020 or 25 and 26 for the goals. But
25 and 26.
The accomplishments for 25.
Oh,
goals for 26.
I was like, that's a lot of pressure, man.
Come on, man! You got to.
Oh, you've got 1 day.
You got 1 day. Tell me all of it right here. Accomplishments, Brian. We could actually don't even have to talk about 2025. We can talk the last 5 weeks, and you'd fill it up.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, okay. Yeah. Okay. So I did all these written tests, which means something, but also doesn't. Right. It's a formality. It's not the practical training. It's not the entirety. It's not knowledge that. I mean, I don't know. I was talking with someone earlier where it was just about talking with a friend who's about to take the instrument written. And we were just talking about how frustrating it is that that the FAA actually allows there to be answers on the tests that are not even correct.
Yeah.
And there's no urgency to fix those things. So anyway, take it. I guess I would say that's just grain of salt. But yes, I did get all that done. I got some good flying in this year, considering all the changes and things that have been happening, and some of the challenges I've had outside of all this stuff. I think I'm just super proud of keeping the podcast on a weekly and delivering on that. So thank you guys for that. But the flying and the just being in the community and all that. I mean, it's been an incredible year in terms of accomplishments. Yeah, I did that. I did make a lot of steps towards getting my instrument rating done. I got my instrument cross country done. I got a lot of research done, a lot of training done, a lot of knowledge, a lot of reading, so I'm making progress. Now for 26, obviously it's all about getting down to business. So it's going to be a real challenge, and we'll see how it goes. But we've got January is pretty well booked, full of a lot of training, and we'll see how long my bank account and energy will withstand. It reminds me a lot of the pressure I was under when I got my private, where it's like I don't have any room to miss a beat here, so I've got to be really, really on top of my training and really on top of everything. So I'm super excited about the instrument training, and then I'm gonna go right into commercial. So I'm just looking to get stuff done, and so the early part of this year should be pretty great if all goes as planned. I will be flying out to Bentonville, Arkansas, as a instrument-rated pilot.
Nice.
So I won't have to worry about picking you up on the way out.
Oh no, you still will because I don't have pitot heat in my airplane. No, I'm just kidding. No. You will not have to give me a ride if there's clouds.
Very good.
A certain
Ted,
type
I think I interrupted you.
yeah.
No, I was just laughing about that too. This year was a lot of big steps for me. The flights to Osh and to Tango 82, which was really flying to Alabama and back, were big deals. But also all the camping and things like that I've done was really special to be able to do that. I don't generally set goals at the end of the year, but next year should be good. That's my hope.
Good.
How about you, Ben?
For me, I was very pleased with my. I set a goal to get my multi-engine commercial add-on, and I accomplished that. And start kind of feeling out what the job market was going to be. The retirement didn't really I didn't plan on that on January 1. That kind of came in later in the year, and it just made sense. And so for my goals for 2026, and I want to get to my numbers too, because I had an interesting point on that, but maybe not that interesting. But I hope to be flying somebody else's airplane while not incurring the expenses and praying to God they have health insurance. That truly is my number one goal. And my other goal that I want to accomplish next year is fly the Beast all the way to the West Coast, fly to Southern California, up to Oregon, back through Minneapolis or Minnesota, Oshkosh, and then maybe even up to the Northeast and back down, just depending how our funds are holding up. And, it's a very ambitious goal. I've got to work with my lovely bride on that. But at minimum, I want to get to the West Coast. I want to pull a reverse Ted, if you can remove any innuendo from that comment.
You want to do the real Oregon Trail, not the reverse Oregon Trail.
Yeah, the real Oregon without the dysentery, preferably.
Yeah.
So, that's it for me. I do like Rich's comment that he made here. Ted will put it up on the screen there. My first flight in 2026 will hopefully be with my CFI landing at a grass airport. The airport is not made of grass, just the runway, just to be clear on that. He doesn't allow landing his plane on grass unless he signs you off to do so. That will allow me to fly the plane. So I want to point out, and to Brian, to your point as well, I think these are awesome goals to have. Set those marks. Land on your first grass trip, or make your first trip that's 250 miles, or whatever it may be at whatever level that you're at. Set a goal and put it on the calendar. Find time to make it happen. I think that's fantastic.
Yeah, and as far as the grass landing thing, great idea to do that with a CFI. Obviously, in that situation, it seems like it's required, but it should be, right? I think the most interesting thing about learning how to land on grass, I guess, or just getting used to landing on grass, is just I think that you tend to be focused on the soft field aspects of it, and all that, which you should be, in terms of just limiting drag of your wheels, get off the runway, ground effect, all that stuff. But just how things look. It's really interesting how your depth perception is really tweaked when there's just a sort of a sea of green, or irrespective of how wide it is. But some of those grass strips can be insanely wide to where you're really just in a void. But really understanding how to manage power in relationship to the particular approach of that particular airstrip and all that, it really does sharpen everything to do that. And I guess I should say, and if I'm really going back to my memorable flights of the year, one of my most memorable was landing and taking off at Moontown, which is just outside of Huntsville, and a really, really neat airport, public grass strip that people can access if you're over that way. But anyway, I also just, anybody in the chat, feel free to throw in anything else you've got here. But what we would love to hear as we kind of wrap this up here is, obviously this is a podcast.
Wait, what?
This is being heard.
Oh, no. Damn it.
Yeah, and I know that we had some feedback that we were maybe going to read, but I'm not sure that it's not in the feeling or the theme of where we've kind of gone tonight. So we'll bring it in the new year. But let's just say that, if you've listened to episode 159 and 160, it's created a lot of conversation. And that's a great thing. We want that, and that's what it's all about.
We do have one more feedback that we're going to read that we just couldn't get to it tonight, as Brian just said.
Yeah.
We're going to wrap that trilogy up next week.
Yep.
And we, like you said, I'm very flattered, quite frankly, to some of the feedback that we got. So sorry to interrupt you.
No, you're good. So the way I'd like to wrap up this episode, first and foremost, is to just thank everybody for listening, being in the chat here, in the live stream, sending us messages, leaving reviews, just all the things. Nobody has to do anything to help us do this ridiculous podcast, and people are choosing to do it all the time. And the community, on Discord and everything is a part of my daily life and sustenance. And it's so rewarding and so valuable to do or to be a part of or to support it in whatever ways we can with effort, and people supporting it with however they support it, just being a part of it. It's just this is just such a cool thing. And this all was created because, at least for me, I was in a full-on vacuum when I first started training. I didn't have anyone to talk to. And now I have a lot of people to talk to about anything, and experts and people that I can rely on. And yes, thank you, Nathan Ballard, saying the best aviation community around. Thank you, Nathan, for helping me out recently with some things that only you could from your experience level. So, I don't know. I just feel really overwhelmed. We don't take it for granted. Sometimes we get caught in the week-to-week grind of kind of doing this thing. It's nice to step back for a second at the end of the year and go, holy moly, like this is wild. This is such a cool thing. And so I just want to send that out there, and also just say thank you guys, Ben, Ted, Mark. This is such a massive group effort. We all have our strengths. Even Ben has some. We're still...
Controversial topic generator.
Right. In theory, he has strengths. Yeah.
You're right. We the one thing we didn't have was a public scrutiny lightning rod, and so now we have that. And so, but everybody's bringing it in their own way, and I think you guys all agree with me that this is one of the best parts of all of our weeks is to get up and do this and hang out with each other and have these conversations and trip, fall, succeed however we can. So it's been awesome. In terms of podcast goals for 2026, we'll go around the horn here, but Ben, what would you like for our podcast here? Now that you know that it's a podcast and that it's actually going out to people, what would you like to see happen for the Midlife Pilot podcast in 2026?
One thing that I've noticed about our podcast is that we have steadily grown it over the last year and a half, 2 years. And I just want to keep that steady growth. I'm not looking for us to have a bunch of subscribers or Patreon. I just love the community so much. And I consider it a privilege to be part of this podcast and to be part of this community. And my goal is not to screw it up. Or say something that's going to mess things up. Honestly, I'm okay with trip, fall, succeed, but I don't want to do it, to the point where things go too far awry. I'd like to see maybe 2 fly-ins a year, but we'll kind of maybe see what happens. and just like to hear more from our listeners reaching out to us. That, we'll get to next week. Some of the feedback we've gotten from episode 159 and 160 are very respectfully written that disagree. And I love that. I just love that. That's what you need around you, are people that are going to disagree with you. That is going to give you a fuller picture of what's going on in your world. So I'd like to see more of that. I want more of that interaction.
All right, so here's the cliff notes. Hey, everyone that's listening to this, find something that you disagree with, specifically if Ben said it,
Yes.
and send a very long email. That I agree. It's, you got to have checks and balances, and we all. If you were in this, I'll put it this way: a pilot without community is a more dangerous pilot. Let's just call it that.
100%.
You got to have that. No one can go about this alone and do it better than you can in a community. So this is, I know that word can seem kind of, I don't know, lofty or a little frou-frou, but no, this is really the truth of community and the need for community. So we are here for the scrutiny. We're here for the cheers. We're here for it all. We're just facilitating a larger thing. It's not about us. But it does take a lot of effort for us to, and it is a sacrifice on some level to put ourselves out there in some way. I appreciate you guys doing that. I don't have enough sensibility or governance to really understand the risks there, but no. You guys have really done a great job picking up after episode 40 when Chris left, and this thing has gone to a completely different level. So really appreciate it. In terms of my goals for the podcast in 2026, I don't want to make this whole ending thing about the podcast, but ultimately, I like what you said, Ben, about like maybe having one more get together, and maybe we can find a way to have like a light get together that's kind of like based out of your airport or something, or where it's, I don't know, we'll figure that out. But I mean, there's a steakhouse there. How many airports have steakhouses?
Just saying.
That's bonkers. They have pancakes that are fancy. That's weird.
Just saying.
No, I'm looking forward to. I'm really looking forward to Paul Craig's third edition of Killing Zone and having him on again to talk about that. That is probably my greatest goal in 2026, is to have Paul Craig back on and talking about third edition Killing Zone, because that has been the touchstone piece of aviation literature for us from the very beginning. And I think that would be another goal tertiary to that, which is that I want to get back to some of that. Yep. Because we are constantly on this tightrope of, we're not instructors, but and those stories and those lessons are so great, and we don't have to be the subjective interpreters of them, and we can just expand upon them. And that's what I think Paul wants, based on the episode we've done with him already. And I'm just looking forward to that again. So I want more meaningful interaction in that way, and I want and I just want the community just to keep doing what it's doing. If it's just been steady growth. Nothing. Yeah, exactly. Not a big. We're not viral. We're not momentary. We're not chasing news. We're not doing clickbait. We're just hanging out. And so, thanks for hanging out with us.
Yep.
Yeah,
Ted?
I've got it. I think my real goal is to continue to meet our people that are in our audience and to hear more of their stories. That's the part that I really like getting. And when I see some of the people in my local area and catch up with them, like I caught up with Wendy a couple of weeks ago, I love that. And I need to get out and do more of that. So, take advantage of the community we've got and say hi to people.
Love it. Absolutely love it. Well, it's been a very chock-full episode. Don't forget, we're going to ask you very kindly, and I think I still maybe owe a few stickers, but leave us a 5-star review I will send you a sticker. Or I might even just deliver it to your house because I'm still building some time.
Because I'm sleeping on your couch
I'm sleeping,
anyway.
maybe sleeping on your couch, but more than you bargained for leaving a review. But hey, it's there.
What a
Don't forget
reward.
to hit
Yeah.
subscribe on your podcast app, whatever you're using.
We already threatened to create a lawn care service, didn't we?
That's it.
Yeah.
Wash your cars and yeah. I do want to make sure, hey guys, I want you to know that I value you guys very much, your friendship, and it's been awesome, and I can't wait to doing 52 times next year. So, anything else for the good of the order?
I've got a shout out to our friend at Checkmate Aviation, Barry, who has an official YouTube channel for Checkmate Aviation. So Google that, or we'll put a link in the show notes. So
Great call out. Thank you. Absolutely. I'm a regular user of his products, and he is not paying me to say that. And many flight schools use them as well. So
yeah,
right.
we're having a conversation in a side thread about Mark's TL Sparker build, about emergency checklists, passenger emergency checklists, and that's where Barry really comes in handy for our group. So really appreciate that.
All right, tonight's bit of wisdom, and it's I felt it was apropos, given that I retire tomorrow. So, when opportunity knocks, don't be in the backyard looking for 4-leaf clovers. Signing off, episode 161 of the Midlife Pilot Podcast. Goodbye, everybody. Happy New Year.